How are you supposed to stop this? Jokic comes to set a screen out top. He rolls, which leaves Ayton in two minds. Help over to Murray or stay attached to Jokic. He hedges instead, and that allows Murray to sidestep for an easy mid-range bucket. But I don't think you understand. How are you supposed to stop this? Because 30 seconds later, the Nuggets run the exact same action. This time Murray gets further in the paint and forces Ayton to help over. So instead of scoring, he kicks it to a rolling Jokic who drops it in. It's funny because Suns fans were so caught up worrying about what they were going to do to Nikola Jokic on the defensive end of the floor that they almost forgot they have absolutely zero answers for his generational dominance. In the second half of Game 2 alone, Jokic recorded 26, 12, and 3. For reference, that's more points, rebounds, and assists than Joel Embiid averages in his postseason career. Sorry, that was uncalled for, as was this play by Jokic. Here he is bringing the ball up the floor, because that's what most 7-foot, 280-pound guys do in the playoffs. He gives it to KCP, Brown sets a pick to free Jokic up, and it's just the gather and touch off the backboard that shouldn't be taken for granted. But the sign of his greatness came at the end of the third. With the Suns threatening to take a 10-point lead and steal a game on the road, he answered again and again.
Jokic, he buries it. Jokic has scored their last 6 seconds. Backing down Biyombo to the box, fades, he sticks it.
But you can't blame Suns fans for thinking the Nuggets stood no chance. This is who people thought Denver were, an unthreatening number 1 seed with a fraudulent MVP. I mean, Minnesota fans thought they hit the lottery. Maybe the Wolves will take that series to 6 games next year. Who knows? But getting back to the first 2 games against Phoenix, it's almost poetic that the Nuggets 2-man game is posing the Suns with unanswerable questions, even on a night where Jamal Murray had the worst shooting game of his playoff career, because it was 14 months ago that this happened.
The way you guys play, especially you two, the ball movement, that 2-man game.
Oh, I miss him a lot.
Oh my goodness.
I miss him a lot.
That thing is crazy.
And this clip was all seen as fun and games and wholesome, but if you look closely at Monty Williams' reaction, there's a level of fear mixed in with laughter when discussing the 2-man game between Jokic and Jamal. And that was for good reason, because 6 games into the playoffs, and shockingly, no team has had an answer for the best 2-man game in the league, nor have they had an answer for the Nuggets offense as a whole. You know who does have an answer for your questions though? Today's sponsor, Extra. Extra is changing the way we see wallets, creating the first ever trackable wallet, which is a game changer in retrieving a stolen wallet or even just tracking down a wallet that you've left in an inexplicable spot in the house, which we've all done, let's be honest. But not only does Extra prioritize the safety of your wallet, its slim fit technology allows you to carry up to 12 cards and cash at just half the size of a conventional wallet. At just the click of a button, you have access to all of your cards in an organized manner. So if you've ever questioned why you are still carrying around that old bulky wallet, Extra has the answer to those questions. And there's no better time to shop with Extra than now, with up to 30% off selected items if you use the code 6MAN at checkout. Now through 7 games in these playoffs, Denver have recorded the 4th best offense, 4th best defense, and 2nd best net rating. And just to put into perspective how well-rounded the Nuggets offense is, right here are the stats of their big 4. Murray and Jokic are obviously the key cogs, but the ability of MPJ and Gordon to keep the Nuggets offense ticking with Jokic and Murray off the floor has been nothing short of exceptional. Look no further than Game 1 against Phoenix. Starting the second quarter, the Nuggets trailed by 1 with both Murray and Jokic on the bench. Over the next 5 minutes of action, MPJ and AG combined for 13 of the Nuggets' 18 points, outscoring the Suns 18-9 in those minutes. Right here, MPJ curls off a screen. The jumper isn't there, so he puts the ball on the floor and attacks Craig before finishing at the rim. 30 seconds later, he brings the ball up in transition and sees nothing but food with DeAndre Ayton in front of him, going to a tough step-back three. And just in case you weren't convinced, 30 seconds after that, MPJ gets the ball against the smaller Shamet and rises above before hitting a jumper in his face. In the space of 2 minutes, MPJ took advantage of 3 different matchups from 3 different spots on the floor, and that's the Nuggets' third option. So when you mix this in with AJ's ability to use his size and quickness depending on the defensive matchup, the Nuggets bench has left teams struggling to keep up with their combination of athleticism on defense and shot making on offense. Forget about Murray and Jokic for a second. This is what makes the Nuggets different from in past years, because absolutely no one should be surprised by what these two guys are doing. We've seen it for years now. Since 2020, there have only been 2 sets of teammates to average over 26 points per game in the playoffs: Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. And I want to go back to the 2-man game between Murray and Jokic, because this right here is at the core of everything the Nuggets do, and we saw them tear Minnesota to pieces for an entire series with it. And 2 games into a series against Phoenix, they've had no answers either. Even in a game where Jamal Murray shot 3 of 15, you still can't defend this because of the attention both of these guys command. And look no further than the 4th quarter. And like on this play where Jokic sets a screen for him, and with the Kogi trailing, Aiden simply has no choice but to help over, and with Jamal's passing ability, it's an easy pocket pass for Jokic. Or on these 2 plays, there's 2 minutes left in the game with the Nuggets up by 8. Jokic sets a screen and slips it quickly, and at this point Murray has a trailing campaign to beat. He steps back and hits nothing but net. Now 20 seconds later, Jamal does a good job at getting Booker on his back and forcing Ayton to help over, and once he does that, Jokic isn't going to miss from there. So let me present the options for you. Option 1, you could switch a big onto Murray, which would also leave a small on Jokic. Option 2, you can play drop coverage, giving a 40% 3-point shooter the chance to pull up for 3 in space. Or my favorite option of them all, you can send 2 defenders at Murray and leave the best decision maker in the NBA with a 4-on-3 situation where he can lob it up to Gordon, kick it to a 40% shooter in either corner, or he could just hit a floater, something he does better than anyone in the league. When you phrase it like that, Denver seemed pretty hard to stop, but this is just offensively. The Nuggets have the worst defensive center in NBA history, right? That's what I've been told. It's the reason the Wolves were supposed to beat the Nuggets. It's the reason the Suns were supposed to sweep Denver and put up 150 a night. Despite Jokic supposedly being the worst defender in the league, Denver are doing a pretty good job defensively as well. And a lot of this stems from the Nuggets just having a lot of size everywhere on the floor, which is important for 2 reasons in particular. Watch this play. The Suns run a screen and roll with Booker. Murray does a good job at staying attached, allowing Jokic to hedge. Booker uses his quickness to get a step on him, but let me pause right here. This is what I mean by size. MPJ isn't exactly Anthony Davis, but his size, combined with Jokic being attached, is enough to prevent a pass to Ayton while still forcing Booker into a tough mid-range shot. Or how about on this play where Jamal Murray, yes, Jamal Murray, reads the 4-5 pick and roll to perfection, breaking up the pass before getting out in transition and finding Bruce for a dunk. And this right here is key to Denver's defense. It's a crazy concept, but they actually have really good chemistry because, wait for it, they like each other and they've played together a lot. So despite not having unbelievable defensive personnel, the Nuggets are clever enough to get by, and that's all they need to do. With that being said, maybe the Nuggets aren't actually the worst number 1 seed in NBA history after all.